switch this around. Hi everybody, welcome to my studio live today on Wednesday the 14th. It's a bit noisy right now with traffic outside, but here we are again, a new week, and I'm just gonna continue like I did last week and play around with some of these paintings that I did. If you were here last week, oh yeah, let me introduce myself quickly. My name is Beatrice Ajayi. I am an artist, illustrator, author. I love to do a lot of different things in my creativity, but in this Wednesday lives, I want to share my artwork. And so, oops, right, okay, just dropped my computer there. But fortunately, I don't need to use that computer today. I was trying to set up, and technology is really playing around. So it's okay. I've got carpets on the floor, so they're not going to have a problem. But trying to switch it off, and I've dropped it, but that's fine. It's still fine. So yeah, I wanted to share today with some of my artwork that I was working on last week, and to continue, like especially this koi one, which I wanted to add the black onto. So I'm going to try and do that. But these were some of the ones I did last week, where we played around with watercolor, like I'm going to do some more today. And I really like these effects. So we might look at some of these kind of ideas again today, and just experimenting, seeing how the different mediums work. I created this as well last week in the live, and that was fun as well. So I've got different things with me this week as well. I've got some inks that I will try and use, but I wanted to work on these first and add the extra layers and just be really relaxed and play around with it. So straight away, I'm just going to go in with some water and just start adding to this. I might just put it on this, so I've got just one space to look at. So yeah, so this is me going to just start adding with some watercolor onto this, and start building the layers to get this to a kind of a point that I will be happy with. I have different watercolors here and things I can use. And so I'm just going to work on it and just keep going. I had my gouache that I was actually working with on this last week, but I'm going to just use watercolor today and see how it looks. And I'm trying to get some of the darker areas of this fish in. So I'm going to try. Usually I end up not talking very much as I'm adding to this, because it tends to, I think it's the way I work. It's like just in silence, really. What I was doing also, which I've just remembered, is I was adding water to areas and then kind of dripping the paint in. So I might do that. I'm just going to add water to certain areas that I want to add the color to, and then I will come in with that color. I do have some, I think I have black ink here somewhere, acrylic ink. I might try that. I'll just mix that up a bit. So yeah, here on my channel, I just want to be able to share different things that I do. So there's some black there, a bit acrylic ink, just adding it in, and it's kind of just flowing. It's a very dark color, which I like. And you can just use the nozzle to add that detail in. Just gonna add some more water. Some areas. I'm trying to think if I wanted all of this black. Just played around with that. So I think, should I add some into the fins a little bit? So Let's see what that looks like with this drip. Oh yeah, I've just seen some other areas that have got water. And then I'm just touching it with it and not doing any more than that. Drag it maybe a little. The areas. So this inks as well will be really good with like a drippy effect if you want it drips on something. So I'm just kind of leading it into other areas that I want to get that black into. Also, I can make dots with this, so I could add like on the dry areas here, I could just add some dots. Let's see if I can get closer. I'm just going to try and zoom in a bit more with this camera. See if I can get in a bit closer. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So just gonna add some, just spread some of the dots. And so usually for these times I can spend maybe an hour just playing around here on this live shear. Part of it, as I've said over the weeks, has been to kind of catalog my progress in my creating artwork. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing this as well. And yeah, I might just add some lines up here just to kind of show that this is like the tail area, then maybe take some from somewhere else and just play around with that. So once these dry, you can go in and add some more detail on the eyes. Just gonna go out and just add that whisker there. Actually, they have like their nose as well, so let's add something to show their nose area, which you can build on when that also like dries. I'm adding like just some shadowy with the gray. It's with the black and a lot of water, you can kind of just get grays in there. So that looks quite nice that I've added. So it was originally like this that I'd done the red last week, and I wanted to add some of the black on it. So yeah, that's quite nice. Let's try that with this one here on this side as well. And I did them facing different directions because I just wanted to challenge myself working with something in a different direction. So I'm just going to put the water in all the areas that I want to put some black on. And this watercolor is 300 GSM, £140, I think, watercolor paper. So yeah. So I'm just going to use this dropper again, acrylic paint, acrylic ink, and I've just dropped it in there. The eye area here. I can move it a little bit around as well if I want to get any kind of effect, but I like dotting it and then it spreads as well, and it gets really nice kind of marble effect. And then you can kind of draw with it as well if you want. Just like the nozzle, I just kind of like squeeze it lightly if I want more coming out of it. So this area hasn't got things. Right, I'm just gonna play around with it and see what else I can do. So if you've ever worked with ink, let me know how you got on, or if you've ever used like these acrylic inks. This is Liquitex acrylic ink, and there's so many different things you can do with all the different mediums. I'm gonna put the whiskers in, so over that pencil line. just being free with it and swirling it round. I'm wanting to get more into the enjoyment of painting and not thinking too much about like final kind of a final piece all the time, and just trying to think of just enjoying the actual doing, because from that then you can end up just flowing in the way that you create. So I just really want to be able to enjoy creating and experimenting, because I call my studio my lab, and I want to be able to really experiment. So like if I add this extra layer, it's kind of like a shadow for this. So, and then I'm gonna go just over some of the sides to give us more of an outline and bring in this fish a little bit more. But yeah, just these two, I thought I would play around with these, and I'll let them dry again and see what else I get up to next. So I'll put them aside to dry. So I've got my sketchbook here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can see. So yeah, for those who are joining, my name is Beatrice Ajayi, and this is my YouTube channel, so welcome. I am an artist and a creative individual who loves to try different mediums and just experiment and play around. So I have different kind of mediums here with me. I have watercolor, I have acrylic ink. In the studio in general, I use also acrylics, and I like to also use what else as well, oil paint. So I use a whole variety of things, and I just like to play with different mediums and create like stories of like my characters that I like to write about, or just all their adventures. So here, this is not one of the watercolors I've been using, but I wanted to just experiment with some colors thrown together on this. So I'm trying to think of what I want to use. Actually, I have some different things here. That's like an oil pastel, but actually I shouldn't use the oil pastel because that will go against the water. So I'm gonna use maybe my woodies. I'm trying to think of creating kind of a background. So this is a water soluble medium, and I'm just gonna blend it in. This paper is not really the same as the watercolor paper, and I'm thinking I want to switch it over actually, because it's bubbling quite a bit. But basically, even this, when it dries, you can still kind of do some things with that. I'm going to put this aside because I want to use a different paper. So this was the paper I used for the fish previously. And I had this page here. So what I'm going to do is I want to use this page up. So I'm going to start sketching something out, and then I can paint that. So I've been doing a lot of like scenes of what would I say again? How would I call this? I've been doing a lot of scenes of like dining scenes where you have a chair, like a table, and you have a chair. So I might change this. Everything is always changeable. I feel like it's very high, so I might go again a bit higher. And then I usually have like a vase on the table. So some kind of a vase, then plants coming out of it. You see this better when I actually start adding the colors to it. And then I usually have a window here, or like and then a picture on the wall. So I'm gonna just do a picture on the wall here. I'm gonna do my kelpies that I usually do. So the kelpies are, well, they're a thing, because I'm based in Scotland. They're like a story that is kind of like a folk story around this area. So yeah, I'm gonna use this and maybe still do like a smaller window up here. So yeah, they are doing what looks like some outdoor work in my area, which is great. Great time, and it seems to be always a Wednesday that they're doing something, because I've not been in the studio for a little while now because I have been taking pictures of my artwork and trying to get them ready for, what would I say, get them ready for actually putting on my website. So I do have a website with my work, so you can have a look at that as well. All the links will be in the description if they're not there already. Trying to set up today was interesting. I think every single time I try to set up, there's some challenge, but it worked in the end, thankfully. So I'm just using my woody here, and this is a water-soluble water-soluble medium. But I just thought I would, so that you could see what it is that I'm actually doing here, that I would draw it out again with the woodies. So I'm looking for some green. And usually as well, I would use like my acrylic paint, which is a lot more substantial in the way that it works. So I'm just gonna, actually, if I close this, because I want to use the inks, but what I want to do is overall just start with these other water-soluble pieces. So I really love the woodies because they come with a really nice big what is a sharpener? Yeah, sharpener. So I'm gonna do some kind of like sketch, because I'm using the colors for what it is that I'm trying to paint here. So these are supposed to be green. So I'm just doing a scene here with a plant pot and with very generic colors, because you can paint over all of these. So this is supposed to be like a terracotta. So it would have like, maybe would be orange on this as well. So I'm just kind of giving a generic look on this blue. I like to make the bottom of for the shadow, like a complementary color like that. This table actually I could do as a light green. I could have done a pink. We'll see. But I never worry about what colors I'm putting down because I can layer over it. And usually I'd have a whole load of other items on this, but I don't want to have too many other items. So you can see me coloring this in. I'm going to go over it with some ink in a minute. So I'm working quite fast because of our time. So this is the wall color I'm adding here. But what I'm thinking the wall color could be, I don't want it to be dark, basically. So if I say, okay, the sky will be blue background, so I'll put some blue there. And these are water soluble, so woodies are water soluble, and I am going to use some water over them. So I could go over the blue, and then you can see that it's gonna bleed. And then you do certain areas and let the other areas dry. Right, the green, I'm gonna color this green in. Because I want the green to be very green. So I'm using the same brush. I'm not even like changing I'm not even rinsing it off is what I mean. I'm just painting it in. And you can make really quick paintings like this with the woody because it's water soluble, and you could just kind of work straight in. I want to do the plant pot. So this is giving it a bit more. You could leave some areas where you've still got the actual texture showing of that. Going into the blue with this straight in there and then under the pot. I might sneeze because I'm getting my hay fever coming up now. So I'll feed it in a little bit to the green. Add some more water and start working on the green. I actually like the way this has turned out. So, but what I'll do is, as this dryness is going along, I'm going to add some ink in there. But I just want to overall, let's just put some of these away. Just want to have an overall picture that you can see before I layer it with other paints as well. So I will wash it off and then get some more water and go over the background, that I get that color to blend in. So very quickly you can see we've got a painting, but the colors are trying to bleed over. I might make these horses purple after all. I usually make them black, but they are, if you saw them, they are like a silver, and they're very large. They're really cool sculptures we have near where I stay here in Scotland. So I'm just gonna take some of the water off, not too much, and get this purple so we can see these kelpies. Very abstracted version of this that I've done. In this frame. So then I'm going to go over the chair. So I'm going to start using like the ink. So I'm trying to think what color I want to go in with. I've got this like really, what is this? This color is like an antelope brown apparently, which I can see in multitude of places, but let's see, like the table. I'm just gonna put some of this. It looks more like a green, but I am going to go over this background here, and then I might just actually just start putting some marks here to get a pattern on the tablecloth. So it's very drippy right now. It will be even drippier by the time I've put all the different ink details. So yeah, trying to figure out how to set up my studio for this. Every week has been completely different, but I think I finally figured out a really comfortable way to do it. So the new camera equipment I got to hold up, I'm actually filming with my phone right now, so you can see from above what I'm doing. I want to add some of this into the leaves as well. So I'm just feeling my way and just sketching with the dropper. And I'm not thinking too much about it, just doing it and giving it another layer of texture. So once that dries, I can do something else with it. I might also go into these areas as well and carry the color here, because it's a very dark color, so I could take it here and make this frame on the wall. And I'm gonna also go into the frame on the window, so it looks like a black, but it's not. And then also to the chair. there. So I made it, you can see that there. So that was quite quick, using the woodies, and then also then going ahead and using this acrylic ink. I would probably be tempted to just let this to dry before I touch anything else on it, but I will like possibly be going in with red. This red is finished. Let's see. It's another, I think I've used up most of my reds from the looks of it. Let's see, is there any in this one? It seems I use a lot of red. Let's see what's in this. So then I would start getting some textures on this one. So I'm just gonna do some lines with this one. Sometimes I do like a teapot on this as well, but then I'd have to have more space, so I just thought I'd focus on one item. Or when it dries, I could put like some lemons around as well. But yeah, that's a very quick way of creating a piece of artwork. I haven't done anything with the curtain here, so I could put, if I do have yellow, let's see, I don't know if I have yellow. That one's too thin. While I'm thinking, I'm gonna have a drink of water because I'm quite thirsty. It's been really hot here the last couple of weeks. Which is not the norm, so. But yeah, I'm trying to think why I don't have a yellow. Oh, right, okay, I can see where the yellows are. Just put that here, right beside me. So I wanted to put a yellow here, I think. I could actually put my gold just to be a little bit extra. So it's gonna have a reflective quality on this area here. I'm just gonna fill that in. I could use my brush to fill the rest of it in. Some of that's going that way. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that dries, because some of it has bled into the color on the side. I could probably use my brush to control it a little bit. I'll just dry it off. Take some off. Making these a bit thicker. These are like the backs of the chair, but then it's nice to have like that thinner line there as well. So yeah, let's see, I'll go in here, and this is like supposed to be the window. I'm gonna use this colors on some papers I have here so that I can use that another time. So yeah, that's quite a nice simple look to this one. I'm trying to think what else I could do. I was gonna look through some sketchbooks to get some other ideas, because sometimes I forget things I was gonna do from weeks ago, and I had ideas and then I just didn't remember. So could do like some plants or something. Just sketch some ideas of like plants, like this stuff here. I really like these drawings here. So quite nice. I could do something very simple with watercolor. Let's see. So on this so I could sketch some ideas and then, you know, paint them in. So I'm just kind of sketching, and it's quite good because you can get a lot of inspiration from where you live, or there are photos online you could get inspiration from, but also from stock images as well, like Pexel's app. You can get some ideas from that as well. So this, I'm kind of exaggerating these leaves. I'm not sure if I like these leaves actually. I'm gonna try another one with like different kinds of leaves that I want to try. So you can't see it yet, but I will start showing you that in a minute. And what I'm gonna be doing is using my watercolors to build the layers of the leaves with a brush. So I'm just gonna go in with a really big brush to start off with. Still got some of the gold on it, that's fine, I don't mind. But I'm kind of following the water shape as usual. I like really using that because it's just so cool. And then I'm just gonna start adding color to it and just dabbing it like that. This one I'm just painting it straight in. So we'll see what kind of effect that is. So some of them is like water, and then some of it is the color straight in. So I kind of like just mottled effect. So the different brushes we use as well will have different results. And then we can also like take colors away, add colors with tissue. Like we could take tissue and just like dab it and take it away as well. And then just keep adding different layers. So it's like a bit mottled. And add different green. So there's a different green. Playing around with like the textures, dabbing. And having water and it moving around. Taking some away if I think it's like too much. You can add water and take away as well. And I'm just gonna add like a stem in here in the middle of them. And add kind of another color in there to give it extra dimension. I could zoom in a little bit more. Let me just see that. So can just keep on adding, you know, like different details. Different details going along. Dots. Interesting kind of, because each thing we add in, I think, makes a different, unique pattern in these. So, and the leaves. So I might add a bit more of like a yellow, like this here that was in the branch. Might add that in. But this could be areas that look like they're spoiling, or so. So the more you add, you get a different effect. If some of it is dry and if some areas are wetter than others, it's just fun to experiment and see what you can do. Like, I didn't really like that design I was doing there, so I'm probably gonna like work over that with something else. Really like this. So there's different ways you can make leaves, to be honest, but this is kind of deliberately trying to take your time and make a design. But you could just have, you know, like you sketch out a stem and the bigger brush. Gonna just use this bigger brush, and you'd use a tip, and then you'd kind of like play around with the shape of what it is you're doing. You do a line. So much you could do, to be honest, with creating leaves and things. Can have a lot of designs that you can do. Different colors you can add. If you want it to be darker, I've got where is a dripper? I have a dripper somewhere that I brought. Because you can have something and then you can create drips with it as well, and I'm gonna just do that over here. So if you could spray it and get drips. You could like use fine areas of your brush. So like this could be a scene that is meant to be a moody scene. So you'd build your layers. Like I'm just pushing this in here, using different colors, and I could spray it. Where's my spray? I really like the moods colors on that. Spray it with my little spritzer here, and all those little areas that I have there. Don't know what's gonna drip. So it's like, it's kind of like a scene that's dropped. So you can feed that whole idea like that. Actually, I'm gonna wipe some of this away because I just, so you can have it drip, but I don't really like that drip. I think this is fine the way it's gone like that. And there's so many ways this could be made into an elephant, so many things. But what I can do is just play around with the colors and hold it this way, and it would just all kind of build and accumulate. Add in more water as well. So kind of like, then you could spritz it a bit more, and then the colors are building in it. I like these greens actually. And then if it's too much, you take some away. And move it around a little bit. Can take some of those colors away, just putting that onto some dry tissue and soaking that away so it doesn't stay wet too long. But what I could do is like start building layers out of this. So I could work with a thinner brush, but I am going to just start like building things out of it, like even leaves and things. So I have to take my time to do all this, but by, and then I had like little leaves. So just plain. And just create all sorts of worlds from this. So yeah. And just playing around, seeing what the water does. And add in different kind of strokes and brush marks. So yeah, it's a lot of fun just playing around. And building things. So it's really interesting to try this out, and we can work more on these leaves and areas. You can make areas darker. We can do all sorts of things. But I really like this kind of marbled look. Let's zoom in a little bit more so you can see how there's different greens and blues in here, and you can take time to build it up. And then I've tried to kind of start bringing in some plants, but I can use a thinner brush, a smaller brush, and you can start to work on details. And in here it could be a whole range of things. It could be an ocean full of like different kind of aquatic life. So ideas just from playing around with what we're using, like these leaves as well. um as I was saying, you can always, use some tissue and take some of that detail back. Like I've really crunched it up because I want only certain areas to touch that, and it'll give it a certain kind of effect. Like, yeah, so you can kind of just take some of that back. You can add more water and then work on it again. So that is just some of the details on what I played around with. But the inks as well, similar thing, like I could add the inks in here as well. So the water, it's starting to dry. So if I put some more water in it, there's a lot going on outside. I'm almost finished for this Wednesday live, but this green might be quite a bright green. But I can always take some away if it's too much, to be honest. But yeah, with my inks, just touch that, and then it's just kind of moving there and spreading. So that's really interesting as well. And then you just let them dry. So that was with the ink into the watercolor and seeing how it's moving around, and to every area that has the water, it's spreading quite a bit. So once that dries, you can go in and you can sketch some details on that. So I thought that was quite interesting. So let's go back out. So yeah, I thought that was fun to try that out. And using the different materials is just a lot of fun. You get different effects, and I just love watercolor because very quickly you can create really interesting things and textures, and you can get different moods really quickly. So this was fun sharing this time with you. I will see you in the next Wednesday live. Thank you for joining me. Please do subscribe so that you're kind of alerted to whenever I have my next Wednesday live, or just whenever, like if I put when I put my Friday vlog as well, which also shows what I've been doing through the week with my other art projects and things. So if you join that as well, you'll be able to see what else I've been getting up to. But here on the live, I just kind of wanted to have somewhere that would get me motivated to actually work on pieces and to experiment as well, and to bring you along on that journey of experimenting and getting ideas. These are some of the ways that I get ideas. So it's been great to have you here with me, and I'll see you next Wednesday, the same time, 12 p.m. GMT. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your week. Um, and please do subscribe, as I've said before, and I'll see you next time. So bye for now. And also, there's different things in the description, kind of to highlight other work that I'm doing as well. So I'll see you next time. Bye for now.